Hi there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to be talking about the Evil Dead franchise, and it looks like we have a name, a title for the next installment in this crazy horror franchise. What they did with the last two Evil Dead movies, the kind of reboot in the series if you like, the 2013 remake of Evil Dead was insane. I love that movie, it was so great. And then we had to wait an entire 10 years to get the next one, which was Evil Dead Rise. It took place in that small apartment sort of complex where there was a family and they were slowly turning into the Deadites. It was claustrophobic, it was creepy, and what they did with it was really short of nothing amazing. Check out those movies if you haven't seen them, guys. Really great movies. But anyway, let's break down this information and let's see what we can learn about Evil Dead Burn, the next installment in the franchise. Does the title Evil Dead Burn, does it imply that we might be going to hell or something with hell? It definitely implies that something to do with fire, and obviously hell is a big concept throughout these movies, so it could potentially be that the characters are going to be ending up in hell, or, you know, it's going to be alluded to, something to do with fire here. But either way, let's try and see what we can learn about what's going on with this next installment. So this comes to us from Joe Blow. Sébastien Vaniček's Evil Dead Burn is coming in 2026. So, in the build-up to the release of Evil Dead Rise, read our review, so you can read Joe Blow's review if you want to. Last year, Evil Dead franchise rights holder Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and Rob Tabbert let it be known that they were already looking forward to producing more entries in the series. With Campbell returning, they were hoping to make a new sequel spin-off every 2 to 3 years. Yeah, it seems kind of crazy. Like I said, that first Evil Dead remake that came out in 2013, and then the follow-up didn't come out until 2023. It was a whole 10-year gap between those movies. And it seems kind of crazy because that 2013 remake was absolutely incredible. It was well received. I'm pretty sure it did pretty well at the box office based on its production budget as well. So it's kind of strange why we had to wait an entire 10 years to get the next movie. But now it looks like they're finally getting the recipe down. It looks like they're coming back full force with this franchise, and it looks like we could be getting an Evil Dead installment every 2 to 3 years, which, sign me up, take my money, give me all the Evil Dead that you can possibly give me the Deadites. I love this franchise, so the more we get, the better. I just hope they can keep the quality the same as what they have with the last two installments. So, in February, they provided their commitment to this idea by hiring Sébastien Vaniček, who made his feature directorial debut on the French horror film Vermin, aka Infested, to write and direct a new installment in the franchise. I believe Infested was like a spider horror movie where in France there was an apartment block and all these spiders kind of took over this apartment complex, and it was a really incredibly well done movie. I invite you guys to check out that movie. And if that guy who did that Infested spider movie is now working on this new installment of Evil Dead, then I think we should be excited because this guy did a great movie with that Infestation movie. So now Vaniček has taken to social media to share a picture of the title page for his script Evil Dead Burn, along with the promise that the film will be released in 2026. So we have a picture here on Instagram from Sébastien Vaniček, the director, and it says Evil Dead Burn, written by Sébastien Vaniček and Florent Bernard, directed by Sébastien Vaniček, based on The Evil Dead by Sam Raimi. So I just want to put this out there. I'm not 100% sure if this is correct, but it says Evil Dead Burn on the front of the script. So this could potentially be a working title. When a lot of movies are in production, they have a working title. When they haven't officially nailed down the title of the movie, they have a working title or like a code name for the movie. So is this a working title or is this the actual title of the movie? It's on the script here, so whether you have a working title on a script or not, I'm not really sure. But I just want to put that out there. If any of you guys know how that procedure works, I'm not sure. Like I said, it could be a working title or it could be the actual official title that we'll get once this movie is out in theaters. I'm not really sure. But either way, Evil Dead Burn, it has connotations of fire, potentially hell, something to do with that. That would be a pretty cool concept for the movie. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But it's exciting here to see the front page of the script, to get the title, to know that progress is moving forward on the next installment. The tangibilization of this project coming to fruition is always exciting. So, details on the story Vaniček will be telling in the Evil Dead Burn have not been revealed, but he has said that he has complete creative control on his Evil Dead movie and intends to give it a French twist. So, it could be taking place in France by the sound of it, which, you know, if he's a French director and he comes from French heritage, he works on French movies, so he's going to be playing into his wheelhouse, playing into his strengths, setting the Evil Dead movie in France, you know, if it works to his strengths, then that's completely understandable. Last year, Bruce Campbell told AV Club, quote, "It's all about the books now. It has nothing to do with franchise hero Ash or any particular character." So he wants to reiterate that it has nothing to do with his former character Ash. It's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with all those previous installments back when he was in the franchise. In Army of Darkness, we first saw 3 books, so we know there are 3 of them out there, and none of them are any good. It's about where does that darn book wind up, who gets it, and what happens. So yeah, it's about the books, where they end up, who gets control of them, and then ultimately, as a result of the situation where the book turns up, the movies are going to be different depending on the situation, on where the person discovers each book. So that's kind of cool. But the universe is the same. It's about innocent people who have no special skills having to fight for their very lives. I think the stories will progress a little more now. We're going to try and do them more like every 2 or 3 years rather than every 10 years. Every 10 years. Yeah, that's crazy. It's also the first time Sam is working with his brother, Ivan, to create an overall Bible that will give us future writers and directors an idea of where this thing should go to next potentially tie in to some of these stories. So that's a really interesting piece of news right there. Let me say that again. So for the first time, Sam and his brother Ivan are working to create an overall Bible that will give future writers and directors an idea of where this thing should go next. So they're making basically a big continuity type of Bible in which this franchise is going to fit into. So it's going to give future directors and writers working on installments in the future kind of a guide rails as to where the franchise is going, keeping that continuity within that kind of Bible that they're writing for this franchise. So that's a really smart thing to do, to keep the continuity across these movies kind of intact, but still give the creative writers and directors kind of free reign to make their movies as and how they like. So it's a really smart thing to do. So I think there's gonna, I think it's going to get a little more tied in the years to go by. But because it's all about the books, it could be a book in the past, it could be a book in the future. It's yet to be determined. So yeah, I mean, these books could turn up at any point throughout history. I mean, imagine a bunch of soldiers during World War II in a foxhole. Imagine they discovered one of these books, and then you had a World War II, a bunch of soldiers from World War II stuck in a trench. And then the Deadites start appearing because they discovered a book. I mean, something like that would be a crazy concept. But it could definitely work, and it could be something really, really interesting there. Sam Raimi made his directorial debut with the original Evil Dead, which introduced Campbell as the iconic hero Ash Williams. Ash returns for the Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and Ash vs. Evil Dead, the TV series with Raimi directing the films, and the first episode of the show. And then basically there's a load of information here, guys, about the history of the franchise. I'm not going to stop and read all of this, guys, but have a pause and read of this, a little bit of history about the franchise here if you're interested in reading about that. Vaniček's Evil Dead Burn isn't the only Evil Dead movie in development. Ah, okay, so there's another movie in development. 2 months after he was hired to make his movie, the rights holder also hired Francis Galuppi, who just made his feature directorial debut with the crime thriller The Last Stop in Yuma County, to write and direct his own Evil Dead flick. We haven't heard any more about that one. An animated series follow-up to Ash vs. Evil Dead also in the works. So is that Is that a separate project there, or is that a third one? So we've got Sébastien Vaniček's Evil Dead Burn. We've got Francis Galuppi here, which says to write and direct his own Evil Dead flick. An animated series follow-up to Ash vs. Evil Dead also in the works. So it sounds to me, unless I'm misinterpreting the text here, it sounds like there's 3 Evil Dead projects. Evil Dead Burn, Francis Galuppi, who's writing and directing a movie as well, and then we have a animated follow-up to Ash vs. Evil Dead. So plenty of Evil Dead content coming in the near future. They know what they've got with this franchise. It's absolutely incredible. People react to this franchise really, really well. It lands well with critics, with audiences, so they're going full steam ahead with this franchise in the next few years, which is great because it deserves it. It's a fantastic franchise. Are you looking forward to seeing Sébastien Vaniček's Evil Dead Burn in 2026? Obviously, share your thoughts by leaving a comment below. Yeah, guys, so I throw it off to you. I mean, this sounds really exciting. Like I said, it just conjures up imagery of kind of like hell and fire and stuff like that when you hear of the term Evil Dead Burn. That's kind of what it makes me think of. I'd be so interested for you guys. Jump down into the comment section, leave your thoughts, comments, and ideas and opinions. What do you think this title means? What do you think we could potentially see? What ramifications does that title have for this next installment. I would love to hear your feedback. Do you agree with me that it could be a potential kind of look at hell or something to do with hell? Or do you think it might be something completely different that I've not even thought of? I'd love to hear your feedback. So guys, make sure you hit that like and become a subscriber if you haven't done it already. It goes a long way to supporting my content here. I'd really appreciate it, and I would love to have you guys here as a subscriber so you can stay up to date with all the movie and pop culture news and you don't miss out on any of the news we have coming in the future. Thank you so much as always, guys, and I will see you in the next video.